I am Bernice Abubedu-Lansa. Great to have you here. Now, the District Security Council of the Wa East in the Upper West region will be meeting later today on Saturday's clash over Rosewood. Now, 3 persons were picked up by the Wa East police in connection with Saturday's bloody clash at Funsi in the Wa East district of the Upper West region. Now, 2 persons died and 2 others have been left severely wounded after 2 groups clashed over Rosewood felling. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The bloody clash took place at Funsi between 2 groups who are sworn enemies. According to the Wa East District Chief Executive, Rosewood, one of the groups went to the Funsi police to inform them about an ongoing indiscriminate cutting of Rosewood in the Funsi enclave, despite its ban by the Wa East District Assembly. They swore to prevent them from cutting it out of the district. The police advised them not to go ahead with their plan because it may end in a clash between the 2 groups.
They picked a signal that all won't be well because the other side, the other group who cut the Rosewood are also preparing so that to meet them. So once they pick the signal and he is not around, they shouldn't go to the bush. They should wait for him to come so that he will call the 2 groups together so that they have a discussion as to how the issue can be resolved. But they didn't pay heed to the advice that the police commander gave, and then they went ahead to the bush to confiscate the Rosewood. So that has actually resulted to the clash between the 2 groups.
4 persons were allegedly shot and severely wounded. They were rushed to the Upper West Regional Hospital for treatment. 50-year-old passed on at the hospital and has since been buried at Funsi and under strict Islamic tradition.
Immediately we are going to also call a dark set meeting so that we look into the whole matter to see how the whole issue can be sanitized, and then there will be peace in the community. Police are going to intensify the watch to so that at the end of the day we know that there won't be any cutting of Rosewood in Wa East.
One of them, who gave his name only as Tofik and was shot in the abdomen, said he is feeling better than when he was brought to the hospital. The fact that I'm able to talk means that I'm far better than when I was brought here. Medical Superintendent of the Upper West Regional Hospital, Dr. Barnabas Gandao, who supervised the operations conducted on the 2 injured persons to remove pellets from their bodies, said they are responding to treatment.
As he himself said, some of the intestines out, so we had to quickly assess him and then rush him here to theater. The doctors, the surgeons were called. They did what they could, at least by his grace. They've saved his life for now. And the others have also been attended to. You realize that the other one had a tube passed, but there was air trapped inside the chest that couldn't allow him breathe well. But today in the morning you realize that he could speak, and all of them are asking of water, asking of probably food. It's a sign of good recovery.
The Wa East Police Command has meanwhile arrested 3 persons, including the assemblyman for the Funsi electoral area, to help them in their investigation. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam, Wa.
Let's head to Wa and speak to correspondent Rafiq Salam for an update on the situation. Hello, Rafiq.
Hello, Benny.
What's the latest development?
The latest is that in less than 1 hour, the Wa East District Security Committee dissect will be meeting to discuss the issues that led to the shooting incident last Saturday. I spoke to the District Chief Executive, Rosewood, and he told me that the meeting will begin in the next 30-45 minutes. And so they are going to put plans in place to forestall any future occurrence.
And Rafiq, we heard earlier that some arrests were made. What else is the police saying with regards to arrest and investigation?
The police this morning, they have taken a statement from some of the people that they arrested yesterday, including the assemblyman for the Funsi electoral area, and also 2 others. One, our information we have gathered is that he's a laborer to the police at Funsi. He was alleged to have been part of the shooting incident last Saturday. And so the police have taken the statements, and then they are also trying to prepare them for court.
We heard in that report the doctor saying that those injured are quickly recovering. What's their situation this morning?
The situation of the Jew is far better than the 2 previous nights. Remember, there were 4 people that were brought to the hospital, and then 1 passed on in the night. That was Saturday night. And then also, after yesterday, 3 people were at the hospital, and so getting to late evening, 1 also known as Wisi Bene also passed on. And so, but the situation of the 2 who are currently at the hospital at the surgical ward, they are really in good condition and in good spirit.
Finally, before you go, Rafik, help us understand what the situation is with regards to the felling of Rosewood in that district, because we know that there is a ban. And is this the first time this is happening, or it's a trend?
It's a trend in the Upper West region. I can tell you that only about 2 districts in the Upper West region that the felling or indiscriminate felling of Rosewood is not taking place. From the West to the Sisal East, wherever you go, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of merchants around who are there with license saying that they have been asked by the government to come and service Rosewood from these areas. And so it's really difficult, it's rampant, and they are really degrading the environment, right? And so it is not an isolated case. Here's the case, but it has not gotten to these state that we have gotten it, and if not, but the West East and Sisal is the most the hardest hit when we talk about Rosewood felling in the Upper West region.
Thank you very much for the updates, Rafik Salam there. Meanwhile, members of parliament are urging the Forestry Commission to enforce the ban on rosewood harvesting to save residents in the northern part of the country from the impact of desertification. A report of the Committee on Lands and Natural Resources approved by the House on Tuesday confirmed the harvesting of rosewood is still ongoing in the northern, Upper East and Upper West regions despite a government ban since 2014. The report demanded action to stop the illegality. Busa South MP Dr. Clement Park, who first drew the attention of the House to the phenomenon, says government must set up.
If you look at the recommendations made, I believe that they are far-reaching enough. In particular, the recommendation that there should be a disallowance on the issuance of salvage permits, I believe is perhaps the most significant recommendation. Because as long as there is an opportunity to issue permits, these criminal elements and their official collaborators would always find a way to issue permits for merchants to go seeking to retrieve, or if you like, salvage rosewood that is not on the forest floor. So my hope is that the recommendations as presented will be fully implemented, because as we speak, by law, it shouldn't even be an option for anyone to grant a permit to any entity or company to salvage rosewood, because rosewood is deemed to be an endangered species to begin with. And that is why governments, including the current government, saw it fit to maintain a ban on the logging and export of rosewood. So now that Parliament has agreed that this is indeed a challenge and has made its recommendations, it is now our collective responsibility as members of Parliament, as members of the Executive, as commissioners of the Forestry Commission and the media to make sure that we hold those who we have entrusted our destiny into to make sure that we do what is right in our best interest.